2022 on the 7th of April. I note councillors' attendance and all committee members are in attendance. To begin with, acknowledgement of country. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land upon which we meet. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging, as the keepers of the traditions, cultures and stories of a proud people. Do we have any declarations of interest in matters on the agenda? No. There is no business outstanding, so we'll move to confirmation of minutes. It's the confirmation of minutes of the Environment Sustainability Committee meeting number 2 of 2022 on the 10th of March. Does any member of committee wish to move that the minutes be received? Councillor Fechner, seconder. Does any member of committee wish to second? Thank you, Councillor Kunzman. That the minutes of the Environment Sustainability Committee held on 10th of March 2022 be confirmed. Is there any discussion on those? No? Then I'll put it. All those in favour? Unanimous and carried. Item 2 is officers' reports. It is the Enviroplan Program and Levy Progress Report. I do note, Acting CEO, that it is listed as 2021-2022, when in fact the report is with respect to 2020 to 2021. If we could just administratively have that corrected.
Absolutely, Chair. That'll be ready for the ordinary meeting.
Thank you. The report is concerning the Enviroplan Program and Levy Progress Report for the 2020-2021 financial year, which is contained in an attachment to the agenda. Contained within the report is an overview of project delivery, a financial summary, including expenditure and revenue, and a number of highlights from the past year, which include Enviroplan 25-year campaign, acquisition details concerning the expansion of the Mount Granchester Conservation Estate, program summaries for the review and implementation of the voluntary conservation and partnerships programs, conservation planning programs, and investment into the existing and new Enviroplan reserves. This annual report follows on from the first report for the 2019 to 2020 fiscal period. The 2020 to 2021 fiscal year saw a significant increase in the overall investment of $4.9 million, up from the previous years of $2.6 million. The recommendation is that the Enviroplan Program and Levy Progress Report 2020 to 2021 be received and noted. I call forward the appropriate council officer.
Good morning, Chair, Mayor, Councillors. Philip Smith here, Natural Environment and Land Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So as I had detailed out, within those 5 main sections of the report, it is a very comprehensive report, and I thank yourself and the branch very much for providing that level of detail to our community and how it is funded and where the expenditure has gone. So if I could ask you to expand just slightly on each of those, so that anyone viewing the meeting is understanding what the Enviroplan has actually achieved in that financial year.
Yep. Well, obviously the details are within the report, but there's some standout highlights specific to that particular last financial year. Most notably, I think the acquisition of the Granchester, the land at Woolshed for the Granchester Conservation Estate was a substantial investment for council. I think of around $839,000 which included the embellishment of tracks and trails and some fire breaks through there, as well as the cost of the acquisition. And that was a substantial increase of around 30% to the size of that conservation estate, which makes it one of our largest estates, which is fantastic, especially given its intent around providing koala habitat, which is very dependent on size and connected suitable habitat there. So that was fantastic. We did see a decrease in investment to our community partnerships, as you mentioned in the summary. That was due to a review that was undertaken to ensure that that programme was fit for purpose and was aligning to the needs of the community. So it was actually put on pause while we did the review. We've now seen an uptick in spending as a response to that review, and we've got some really good feedback from the community there. So that was a good piece of work, although it saw a decline in the direct payment to private landowners. The other one that saw a significant increase was around the establishment of capital and operational management. So investment within our existing natural area estate, the EnviroPlan funded areas specifically. So that was looking at things like the improvement of standards of trails, tracks, similar associated assets within the estates. And also we had a couple of larger projects around Denmark Hill, which was begun in that financial year, which is close to finishing. So some new basically kind of community facilities and playgrounds that are going in there, as well as the Hardings Hut, which some of you will have attended as part of the EnviroPlan Enviro Forum this year, where we opened that. So there was some significant investment there and around some of our other places. The challenges around the management of our conservation estates remains a big consideration in terms of investment, just things like managing to keep on top of weed ingress, pest management and those kind of things, simply because of the scale of land that we're working on. So that's another considerable investment that's ongoing for us. In terms of highlights, I think that was that's probably the main expenditure. The other item was the 25-year EnviroPlan campaign, which again had its own committee report, but which really kind of intended to celebrate the levy as it is and what we've invested in over the last 25 years and how we've kind of been quite good in forward planning in establishing some of our larger EnviroPlan estates, such as White Rock Spring Mountain, the Flinders Gulman estate, and now the Granchester Woolshed estate, which were done quite a way back, anticipating the growth of the population in Ipswich and conserving some of those highest value areas. So that campaign included events, as I mentioned, like the Enviro Forum, as well as a number of open garden events where we've visited landowners and opened up some of our estates to the public, as well as the publication of our book as well, which came out, which was well received and details some of those great investments and estates. So as a highlights, I think I could go on for days if you want me to, but I think I'll leave it there, unless there's any other questions. Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I do note that over the 25 years of the EnviroPlan, that it has changed and moved along with the strategy of the city. So as when our new strategy does come forward, do you see that there would be, of course, in step moves with the strategy of the EnviroPlan?
Yeah, we hope so, and I hope that in the publication of this report, both in its format here and on the Transparency and Integrity Hub, we'll be able to offer information to the public to inform decisions and consultation around that strategy development as we go forwards. We'll certainly take a lead from community sentiment in terms of priorities and from the elected members here in terms of what our priorities will be going forwards. As you mentioned, the priorities have shifted. Initially, the EnviroPlan was established with a focus on the acquisition of some of those high value places, including White Rock Spring Mountain Conservation Estate and Flinders. As we move forwards, we realise we have to spend money on maintaining and improving those and keeping the condition. So we saw a switch away from acquisition back to, I suppose, consolidation and improvement. We're now at a juncture, as you said, with the development of the new strategy to examine how we go forwards, whether we want to continue to consolidate and improve what we've got. There's probably some strategic opportunities to connect some of our larger estates, as well as embellish or activate some that we've already got. So there's a lot of options on the table, and we'll be looking for the elected members and the community to have their input as we move to a consultation phase in the development of that strategy, and then that should hopefully inform the future expenditure of the Enviro plan and potentially how much we need going forwards.
Yes, it's an exciting point in time for the Enviro plan in terms of moving forward with that, particularly with the taking the input and feedback from community as to how they want their natural spaces managed, and the development of the strategy in particular. Does any other member of committee have any questions? Mayor Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Thank you for this report. It was, I think, a really a good, succinct outline of a Enviro plan. May I ask, with the land in Mount Granchester, when will it be open to the public?
It's a very good question. We have a series of master plans being developed, of which the White Rock Spring Mountain one was adopted last year. Flinders Gulman's underway now, and next cab off the rank is that Granchester Woolshed area. As part of that master planning, we'll be looking at the requirements for embellishments in order to open it safely and in a way that doesn't compromise the natural values but allows for access. So I think next year we'll be looking to master plan that, and that will give you some timeframes around the opening of that more broadly for general public access.
So if next year we receive the master plan,
Yes, that's right. We should have the
then it
dates.
needs to be funded?
The master plan itself, or
Yes.
the works associated with
Or the
ma-
works
Yes, the
associated.
works will be, yeah. So we'll put a proposal in that master plan in terms of a programme of works, which will have some funding
So it'll
attached
take a
to it.
couple of years before we open up to the public?
Potentially,
is what
yes,
you're
I think
saying. Okay.
as a minimum, yeah.
I just want to manage expectations here.
No, that's fine, yeah, that's
Thank
good,
you.
thank you.
May I just ask, with the page 31, which is the financial performance statement,
Yep.
obviously the land acquisition was 831,000. There's a loan service for land acquisition, obviously from previous land that we purchased for 861,000.
Yep.
What is our debt, and when will that be?
I can
employed?
take that on notice and provide the specific, because we pay that back on I think it might be a quarterly or monthly basis, so it varies, but I can certainly go back to finance and find out what that is. I think the last time I got a statement, we're due to pay that out by 2026.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and you're right in your assumption that that was for some of the original purchase of land and was topped up as well.
Okay. You mentioned that the Enviro plan is going on the Transparency Integrity Hub. Do you know when that will be happening?
Yeah, as soon as this is adopted, we
Okay.
can publish it. So it'll be taking information from here plus some of that financial details that you've just asked as well, and that will go up as well, part of that.
And I note the reserve balance being just over $4.5 million.
Yep.
How is community consultation taken? I know that for us as councils, we provide when we get feedback, we provide it. But is there any community consultation on the approach of how that money is spent, or how is that just done?
So currently not as yet, but as I mentioned, we're moving forwards with the new natural environment strategy, and there's a lot of planned community consultation about that, and that'll set some of the strategic direction for how we manage our natural kind of environment across the board, including some of those estates. And the role of Enviro Plan, I suppose, is up for discussion there.
Okay.
There's a couple of options around whether we maintain that, let's call it a kind of budget in terms of keeping some money for future acquisitions, or whether we use it to invest into the existing estates, and those kind of questions that we'll need to answer as part of the consultation through that strategy. So that's due to be finished, hopefully draft will finish this year, we'll see, and that will be able to, I suppose, give us a future direction in terms of where we go with that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Thank you, Chair.
Any other member of committee have any questions? No? Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
In opening the matter for discussion, I'd just like to point out that the report is very comprehensive and detailed, and is definitely in line with this council's commitment to transparency and integrity, and that our community are able to see in clear detail the revenue and expenditure of the Enviro plan. Does any member of committee wish to discuss further?
Yeah, just through you, Chair. And picking up on the commentary that the Mayor made around community consultation with regards to the Enviroplan levy, I just want to give feedback that I've received quite extensively from communities of interest, ones that are particularly interested as to how we expend the Enviroplan money. And they're really happy with the work that our team, Environment and Sustainability, are doing. And you know, the general vibe is that we're doing a good job and we're spending the money where they're expecting us to spend that money. They wish that we had, $100 billion more to protect all of our wonderful natural assets. But I think that there's a general feeling of endorsement in the community when it comes to the way that this council expends its Enviroplan money. I love the way that these reports are written. It's a really important report for everyone to read. Like you said, it's very digestible, but there's this element of it's been written by a greenie and there's something for everyone in there. From the pictures to the experiences that we offer to our community as well. So it makes it very accessible. I mean, there's lots of people who've come into, the Ipswich LGA, or people who have lived here a long time that haven't been on a nature walk before, that never used to go hiking, that changed in COVID, or their fitness goals have changed and they're actually using that as a personal outlet for them. And that might be them dipping their toe in the water to think about how we protect and care for these assets moving forward in the future. So the more visible we can make these experiences for our community, the better off we're going to be. I think that, there's a huge opportunity for, and without sounding obtuse, the ecotourism boom. I mean, we're probably 20 years too late, and Tasmania's been doing it since the 90s, but, there's a huge opportunity for our council to really promote that and use that as, the get-in for people to get interested in, why we protect the environment locally. We've got a huge generation of young people, as we consistently restate in this committee, that are really, looking forward to ways that they can positively impact the environment. So I think that, it's a really wonderful report. It's very accessible for people, and, I'll definitely be recommending that those in our networks, those little greenies out there that I know will, sink their teeth into this. It's really good to understand how we're spending the money that we collect on our rates. I mean, there is a nominal amount that people pay in their rates per annum that go towards this. And if you read this report, you'd be really excited that you as a household have contributed to some really wonderful environmental outcomes as well. We need to be celebrating the good stories. We need to be celebrating the good work that we do more and more. And, that's also a running theme in this committee. We just want to highlight and bring visibility to that. So thank you, Chair, and what a wonderful report.
Thank you, Councillor Fechner. I couldn't agree more with every single word you said. Mayor Harding?
If we're still in discussion, I'd just like to point out that for any residents who are interested in contributing or putting their views forward, they've got two main avenues. One is the community e-panel, so go to Shape Your Ipswich and register your interest on the community e-panels, yes, but also contact your local councillor as well.
Or any member of the committee, the Environment Sustainability Committee. Any further comments? No? In that case, I'll put the motion. I'll call for a mover. Councillor Fechner. Seconder. Councillor Madsen. Thank you, Sue. The recommendation is that the Enviroplan Program and Levy Progress Report 2020 to 2021 be received and noted. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? It's unanimous and carried. We have no notices of motion. There are no matters arising and no procedural motions and formal matters. I'll declare the meeting closed at 11:37, and the next committee will commence at, it's now 11:38, so at 11:40. 11:47. 11:48. I was just rounding.